Hey, what is up? It is the Follow Up Media Podcast. I am Christian Lee, aka K Lee. My co-host Riley Austin sitting next to me.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Just so happy to be here.
Eh?
It's a little chilly out.
I'm happy.
But
Yes,
happy.
I can see through your shirt. It's cold. Oh my gosh, those puppies could cut glass. See, that's how we're going to start it off. Anyway,
yeah.
It is 2025.
Yep.
It is a new year, a new you. Could be a
Could
new
be.
you.
Could be.
You know, we had launched this podcast as an initiative, like a lot of companies are thinking about for the new year. Some people call them goals, some people call them initiatives.
Resolutions.
The resolutions. I feel like with businesses, it's like initiatives.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be goals too. What are our goals for the year?
I know that businesses are having those meetings right now. If they aren't already or having those meetings saying, what's our goals going to be in 2025?
What are we going to do different?
Yeah.
What are we going to implement
Yep.
that we feel we need to
So
have a better year?
Yep.
Whether that be more revenue, or whether that be increasing your bottom line through revenue, but also maybe cutting cost. And so while this isn't my first rodeo with a podcast, I've had a podcast. I've been managing podcasts for 8 to 10 years. I've little bit about me. I'm the founder of Follow Up Media, but I also am an audio producer for a syndicated morning radio show. Gets about 6 million podcast downloads a month. Audio is what I know. I know video as well. When we launched this company, which has now become this full service production and marketing agency, a powerhouse, have you? It was set out with the main initiative and goal to help businesses enter the content creation game. Start creating content, which Riley, who's my vice president of sales, knows better than anybody when we identify a company that is not creating content, which is 99.9% of the companies you identify. Is that accurate?
100%. Yeah.
We are reaching out to establish contact and basically try to plant that seed, which it really doesn't need to be planted because, as you could probably confirm, 95% of the people that we reach out to know the value in creating content. They know they should be doing it.
Yep. Yeah, when I'm on the phone with business owners, that's one of the first questions I ask is, hey, have you ever considered doing a podcast or doing any video creation as a marketing tool? And it's funny, I've been in a couple of different sales of insurance and real estate, stuff like that. And a lot of those are saying, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it. This right here, when I ask that question, if you ever done or if you ever thought about doing it, like 90% of the time they're saying, we've thought about it, but never kind of pushed that initiative or never really sat down and truly understood the reasoning of why you need to do it. They know they need to, but they don't want to go ahead and jump.
And most of them don't know how. Granted, they could do a Google search, how to launch a podcast or how to do a video series.
Yes.
And while there are many tips and tricks, and technically, if anybody decided that that was something they wanted to do, whether it be personal, pop culture, or for their business, sure as the sky is blue at times, they could figure out a way to do it. Now, does that mean it's going to be done correctly? Because there's a lot to learn. And having a company like Follow Up Media that is turnkey and that will do it for you, everything, the setup, the launch, the helping you with, the post-production, which the editing, the social media. I mean, it is a full-time job and it's a full-time initiative.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that for a company, you can sacrifice time and time and money, or you could stay in your lane and focus on what you do know, which is your business and your business's brand.
Yeah.
And, if you're a financial advisor, it would be to continue advising for your clients. If you're an attorney, it would be to continue fighting for or against, the population. And then there's another side to it too. Because yes, if your company's big enough, you could essentially, if you have a marketing team, take your marketing team and task them with it. But then when you start bringing on video editors full time and you have to offer them benefits and all these things, it becomes a way more expensive than just having a company like us swoop in and just handle it all for
You're
you.
taking them away from their market.
And even then, your internal team might not be dialed in to podcast and video production. And even if you have a video editor, but there's still a whole nother side of the way you post, the promo clips you make. So that's just another thing to consider. But we are a turnkey full service production company and marketing agency. And so content creation, I feel like this year as an initiative is going to be, as you know, on a lot of people's lists.
Sure.
But if it's not on your list, let me give you a few stats, okay? So right now, in a company's marketing strategy, right? And it's funny because it reminds me of a time that I got into a particular business and I was an apprentice and I had to learn this particular industry. And I'll just straight tell you, I became, when I got out of high school, a body piercer at a tattoo shop, which if you are a executive and you hear this, you're like, oh my goodness. Like, I mean, like I went a different path. Okay.
You don't have any piercings now.
Well, I do not actually, but does that matter? No, I don't have any piercings. Actually, I am earring free. Thank you. I do have holes in my ears. Yeah. You know, left and right. Anyway, but I didn't get into a tattoo shop that was like the visual you probably get when somebody says, oh, I worked at a tattoo shop. Yeah. We were state of the art. My boss at the time, who became my business partner later, was a world-renowned artist. I mean, this guy is $250 an hour, and he could put a portrait of Jesus that looks just like Jesus on your arm. Yeah. Not only is he a tattoo artist, he's an underwater diver, photographer, painter. I mean, he's like a Da Vinci of art of my time. Wow. Shout out Dino Cook if you ever do hear this. I'm giving you a plug, my man. Anyway, Dino was a very savvy business individual. He was very smart and he was ruthless in his negotiating, and I watched it. So actually having the ability to learn and watch him run his business was great. And we eventually had 3 shops. But one of the things that I was reminded of the other day is back then, and this was in 96, 97, the yellow pages was everything. The book. So if you were a business and you weren't in the book, I mean, no one's going to know about you unless they passed you on the road. But at the time, Dino, I think, had a quarter page that he was, and these numbers aren't probably exact, but that he was paying almost $1,750 a month for just to be in this book that was printed a couple times a year. I don't remember the cadence on how often they released them. And this book was this freaking thick. Yeah. So if you imagine every business in there ponying up, and maybe it wasn't a quarter page, maybe it was just their name and number in the, but they paid something for that. And then the internet hit really big, right? Yeah. And it was like, and then the push came to a website. And once everybody had their own page of the yellow pages, if you looked at the internet as just a giant yellow pages, right? Everybody claimed their own .com or their own URL and started setting up, and now today, in the new 2025, the year of the, what did I say? The donkey? Yeah. In 2025, if you are a business and you don't have a website where people can go and verify your company and kind of get an idea more of what you're about, or go to Google and look at reviews of, whatever it is, you're probably not considered a legit business, right? I think, a lot of people are going to look to your competitors if you don't have that presence, right? Yeah. So I feel like once companies, said, oh crap, we don't need yellow pages anymore. Now we have a website, right? Yep. And Google, became huge, not in that year, but and so now you could search for plumbing services or production or whatever it is. And all those companies that meet that criteria will pin you to around your location and you can sort those details. Well, content creation is going to be like the next website, right?
100%.
Like people and companies are spending tons of money every month for SEO for their website.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those results are very convoluted, when handed over by these SEO marketing agencies that like, here's your report. And the owner, who's
Like, I
been
don't even know what
paying
this means, or I don't know what
like,
this says.
okay, like I see there's a bunch of graphs
Yeah.
and I see that I've had, but how do I correlate what is from what? Like, what actions have you done this month that have gotten me any different results than the month before? Have you added more backlinks or more keywords or, what have you researched? My competitors, how am I? And so it becomes this very convoluted thing where I've consulted with tons of different businesses who've been paying thousands of dollars a month, and they reach out to these companies that have been taking their money. It's like, can you explain this to me? And they never get an answer.
Yeah.
So if you are dealing with a company like that, you might want to look elsewhere. But what content creation, video, podcasts are audio and video. Unless you really don't want video, you could go an audio route, better than doing nothing. But really, these days, when you say podcast, for the person that doesn't understand this, or primarily it's going to mean audio and video.
And people think podcast is just a trend. Like, it's not a trend. It's a marketing powerhouse. Would you say?
It is.
I would say
it is going to.
not
It
just a
is.
trend.
It is a marketing powerhouse that is going to lead companies into the future, because there's no other way that a CEO or the owner of a company or an industry expert or an industry leader can have a long form platform for their company and basically establish themselves authentically.
Yeah.
They can hear me. They can see me. They can hear you. They can see you. And you can build an authentic connection and establish yourself as an authority, as an expert on the subject that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Thought leadership, brand awareness, subject matter expert. These are symptoms of sitting down wherever it is, at your office, at a studio like we are at. We have 2 studio locations now, and taking 20 minutes to address a topic, address why us, why Follow Up Media, which is a great question. Riley, ask, why Follow Up Media?
Khristian, why Follow Up Media?
That's a damn good question, Riley. I'm so glad you asked.
Yes, sir.
Why Follow Up Media? Because as I said a few minutes ago, Follow Up Media is a full service production powerhouse and marketing agency. We have our team that is, I can't speak enough about them, except for you, Riley. No, I'm just playing. You are at the top, buddy. But we have a team that we have built that are experts in every area. Sonic branding, AI solutions, podcast, video production. I mean, YouTube optimization, social media management. We can do it all. And not only do we do it all, and we have experts in these particular
Categories.
departments,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
departments, categories, or whatever it is. We are up on the latest trends. And here's the difference. Why us? It says it all in the name. And that is action. We are action. We are follow-up. You will not get away from us.
Oh, yeah.
No, essentially, it's like some of the things our clients appreciate, even in the establishing of contact. We don't just make a phone call once and leave you a message. You are on our hit list.
Yeah.
I mean,
More
as,
legit.
in the most non-creepy, we are here to help. We've identified you. We've reached out to you. And we are going to follow up and follow through.
Yeah.
And a lot of times with these companies that are, they get the business and they're sending you the report, or maybe you're not getting a report, but the follow through starts to fade.
Yep.
a month in, 2 months in, three, maybe they start strong and then they start to fade with their follow through.
They get
And they're
complacent.
following up. Yeah, they're taking your money.
Yeah,
You're spending $2,000. I've got clients now that paid $2,000 a month for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think personally got taken advantage of. And I think there's a lot of companies out there that are wounded and are gun shy in that way. Like, oh,
Got
I've been
burned in the
down this
past.
road before, but you haven't been down this road with us.
Yeah.
Because that is our difference. And when you start to talk with us and meet with us through our discovery call, it'll be apparent right off the bat that
We know what we're
it's
talking
action.
about.
Well, not only do we know what we talk about, but we walk
Yeah.
the walk. We are actually following through on all the words that are coming out of our mouths, which is huge in this day and age. And I think that is one of the main reasons why, because you will get what you pay for. It won't be an initiative that you get burned on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But what happens is when you start going down this road, I don't know if you know this, and actually when I tell some business owners, do you believe in, there's a lot of people that don't know that Google owns YouTube?
I've asked a few people that they didn't know that. They thought I was a genius. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, you are a genius, right? I mean, there's no
For how long?
doubt
Like
about
10
it.
years? Would you say 8 to 10 years?
Oh, I don't know how long. I mean, I'd be making something up and I'd probably sound silly and give the ability for someone to correct me.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've owned it for a minute.
And what are the benefits of that then?
Well, there's a ton. Well, if you think about it, Google is the biggest search engine out there, right?
Yeah.
If you ask me, Google controls SEO for the most part, right?
Sure.
Everybody wants their business listed on Google. Who do you use? What? I know there's Bing and there's various, I mean, use Google, right?
Sure.
Google is the one, right? So with Google owning YouTube, which YouTube is one of the biggest, if not, it is the biggest purveyor of podcasting content.
Yeah.
But think about when you watch a video, where do you watch it? Do you watch it on Vimeo? No.
No.
You watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
You watch a music video, you watch and I'm not saying it's the only one out there, but it is the biggest one.
Yeah.
And you can, people have their TV service, YouTube TV.
Yeah.
You can get all your channels through it, YouTube. That being said, YouTube rewards content creators who create content that is aligned with their targeted audience. You're not making content for plumbers and then trying to market it to bakers when doesn't align. But when YouTube sees that your content is aligned with how your channel is set up to target, they reward you by showing your content to your targeted audience.
So that means your business would be upmost or upfront and foremost with people that want to search what your service.
I mean, it's the algorithm.
Yeah.
And that is what our YouTube optimization service does, is we can create and provide an audit and then basically either reconstruct or construct your channel and to align with the way your content is going to roll out. And so when that happens, YouTube starts showing your content to those intended. They don't have to be subscribed to you. And then from an SEO standpoint, Google starts rewarding you with SEO results, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your content starts pinging on many different levels and it starts creating a content SEO machine.
Yeah.
And you can say it does it organically. I mean, if you're paying for it, so there is a cost, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a cost to learning it all and doing it. But it is more organic than paying ads and trying to boost your posts on Instagram and Facebook, which that's kind of a hustle. These platforms keep changing their algorithms. So it's like where your Instagram followers could see your posts more. Now they're trying with every post to get you to boost it, to get the engagement that you once got. And they make it harder. So it's like, and some people are resistant. They're like, I'm not paying for that.
Yeah. And how would a business owner even know about that? Like if they're a financial advisor, that's their main job, is to run that. Like they're not going to be sitting behind, YouTube's algorithm, Instagram's algorithm, Facebook's algorithm, LinkedIn, etc. They're not going to be sitting there saying, all right, this is hashtags are right now, whatever down the road. They're not going to know that. So that's why.
No, not unless they're paying close attention to all these companies and
Yeah.
these platforms, announcements and upgrades and news or rollouts. Instagram or Meta rolled out Threads
Yeah.
to try to compete with Twitter. All these
Can't
things.
be an expert at everything. So
No, you can't.
that's why we have these
And
different departments.
we have an expert that has their ears and eyes on these platforms and the changes they make and how to maximize the use of said changes to benefit our clients' content.
Mm-hmm.
And content is here to stay. And one thing that I think is pretty cool is that, branded podcasts, and we can say branded podcasts, we could say branded videos, right? Videos created on behalf of your brand that establish you or your company as a thought leader. If you're a financial advisor, your goal should be to educate your clients to buy more, save more, invest more, hence gives you more business. But, obviously the success of your clients is linked to your success as a financial advisor to an extent, right? You can take fees, but if you're not directing people in the right direction, eventually it's going to catch up that you're probably not the one to go to.
Yeah.
YouTube and content becomes a lead gen tool for these businesses. So this initiative is going to position you for the future. And and what's great is that down the road, if you start to embrace this now, you will claim your SOV. I didn't say SOB. I said SOV.
V is in Victor.
Share of voice. Your industry's share of voice. So do you want to claim your share of voice for a particular industry and get out in front of your competitors who are not embracing content creation?
Or fall behind and let them do it first.
And then
then you
really
just
have
play
to
catch
fight
up.
to stand out as much,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we have the ability to, optimize a YouTube channel and content on other platforms. If it's local that you want to, target, if it's global you want to target. What are the profiles of specific clientele, your preferred clientele? Because you could have clients that come in that are like, well, we'll take them, but they're not our preferred.
Yeah.
Like they're not the ideal profile of. And if you don't think businesses profile their customers, they absolutely do. Demographically, what their income, what their jobs are, where they live, are they in the city, are they suburbs, do they have children? All those things are taken into account. And we can help really dive in and be very specific. And then we help you align and create the content that aligns with that audience.
Yeah.
And that's when it becomes this powerful circle, right? This powerful tool, lead gen. I mean, it hits all the markers, but here's some numbers for you. Branded podcasts, game changer for businesses. And this is here to stay. This isn't going anywhere. 89% increase in awareness. This is from the BBC Storyworks, just so you know. A 57% increase in brand consideration, right? There again, let me put it to you this way. A CEO, the head of a big company, sending an email, whether it be positive or negative to its lower level executives or team leaders or whatever it is, or a scalding email. It's an email. It's like getting a text. Now, granted, depending on how the words are, configured, you can tell if it's got attitude and if it's good or bad. What do you think would go further? An email or a video from the CEO that the team and the employees of that company that come in there and fight for that company every day get to hear and see the genuine and authentic
Tone of everything yeah.
from the CEO.
Mm-hmm.
That goes a lot further.
Yeah.
If you got a video for me saying, Riley, man, you did amazing, sir. Thank you for signing on these businesses. We're going to help them do big things.
Makes
I
a
mean,
lot
it,
of
it would
sense.
mean, well, and I took the time to sit down and actually do it, right? Like it goes a lot further.
Yeah.
Same thing. Also, podcasts and video. Another thing that Follow Up Media specializes in is creating internal uses for this medium, onboarding, continuing education, communication within bigger companies with, teams across the world,
Yeah.
right? There's a certain amount of training that can be done by watching. Now, you can pay a company like us to create an explainer video,
Yeah.
or you could, you know, have that person that's in charge of training sit down and create some of the things that can be more automated that can live in your company's library, right?
Yeah.
You can update it as needed. But anyway, that being said, so video, audio, seeing, hearing a company's leader or, brand spokesperson goes way further than any static image post.
Oh, yeah.
Or some companies, they're lacking static images as well. A 24% increase in brand favorability. Podcasts are a long form. We don't have a time limit.
Yeah.
And so, but it does give a opportunity for a listener that either is a fan of your brand or just, somebody that scrolls across it that, if we're talking retirement and somebody's listening who's on the verge of retirement and we're laying down facts that can help them make some decisions to maybe increase their money, right? Like that appeals to them at that time in their life.
Yeah.
So it gives them also the ability to relate to you. It's authentic. It is the best way to build an authentic connection with an audience,
And they're
hands down.
people are a lot more engaged as well. When they're reading something, they'll probably skim over some stuff. They won't be able to truly dissect of what they're exactly saying. Or some people do. Some people will completely read it. But when you have that video, you can't just you're gonna if you skip it, you're gonna feel like you missed something in the middle. So you're gonna want to watch it. You're gonna want to understand where they're coming from, what their tone is, and what kind of message they're trying to relay out to their audience.
Yeah. A 14% increase in purchase intent. So podcasts, I mean, they're not a trend. While they are newer and they are being widely adopted as far as who's tuning in, who's listening, there have been many studies, and I always say studies, anybody could make up a study. Numbers on a study, like even the numbers I gave you, the BBC StoryWorks, I know that there are legit companies out there doing actual surveys and really taking, trying to gather results and input from people from all walks of life everywhere. But they're just numbers. But you can plainly see just through talking to your employees, your coworkers, your friends, podcasts, content, you see it everywhere. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
That's why everybody knows when you call, even if they're not doing it, they know they probably should be doing it, but haven't taken that leap because they don't know what to do. And that's where Follow Up Media comes in.
Yep.
And Riley, what was that number that you told me about brand recall?
So podcasts have shown to generate almost 5 times more than the traditional ads. So that stat right there, 5 times more.
Yes.
Just a podcast than those traditional ads that have been going on for years, and it just shows you this is the new.
Ads have their place.
Yeah.
I mean, ads can be effective for hammering a message in, over and over and over. But one thing, and there's a science to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why everybody knows what, they can see the colors of Coke and they know instantly it's a Coke,
Yeah.
and then also there's sonic branding, which our company specializes in. We have a composer that is actually that makes music, custom music to create a brand's identity audibly. Think Netflix, think Intel, think McDonald's, might be a jingle. So, there is an audio component to help embed a brand into someone's mind.
Yeah.
They don't have to see it, they could hear it and know it's the same thing. And that's essentially a lot of times what some of these ads do. But ads do not build an authentic connection. So if you have 30 seconds, I mean, you're trying to upsell a new version of McDonald's French fries, I mean, great. I mean, McDonald's is established, but if you're trying to come out the gates and nobody, online or in, social media, because you haven't really had any real presence thus far. Positioning yourself with content that stands out and that is targeted and that is effective, and you're educating. Why you? Why us? Right?
Yeah.
And here's why. And people can see and hear you. And it is the most effective tool that you could do right now. If you want to put your money towards something that can reap ROI in the near future, short term, and long term, the effects can be just insane.
Yeah.
You could be the smaller guy in an industry, surrounded by the big boys, right? SEO, they're throwing, who knows how much money at it, and they're not creating content. Come years down the road, you'll be surprised how effective, if done right, what you can achieve, like as far as SEO results, as far as onboarding new clients, building trust with those particular clients who want your product.
Yeah.
So, to wrap it up, really, in 2025, if you've been on the fence about this initiative, content creation, we get it. It's not the most comfortable for people.
Yeah.
It does, even if you're throwing money at it and having a company like Follow Up Media who will literally come and hold your hand as much as you would want us to. If it's Riley hosting your podcasts, throwing out the questions to set you up with the answers.
Yeah.
Or if it's booking your guests or scripting it for you. We do all that. Whatever it is that you need. The only thing you need to do is sit your ass down in a seat. A little bit of show prep.
Yeah.
But
you're the expertise. You're the thought leader.
Right.
You're the person that would know it better than I would.
And that's what's funny too, is because, everyone's like, oh, no one likes seeing themselves on camera.
Yeah.
Nobody likes listening to themselves. Well, maybe some people do. But there's a reason why actors, like the big ones, most of the time, if they're asked, oh, did you watch your movie?
Yeah.
They're like,
no,
hell no.
I can't even do it.
I don't want to watch myself on camera. I don't want to hear myself. Because then you start over judging. Like, oh, look at how I look. Or if you're an actor, why did I make that choice as far as how they did their scene? They don't want to be all up in their head about it.
But to the other
Let the critics, love it or hate it or do whatever. It's done. Those were the decisions they made, and they used their experiences up until that point of, in their life, or they use some influence to help create that character. And you just don't even want to be in your head about it. But it's a normal thing, but it's something you get over.
Yeah.
And by having a partner that can help, guide you, you're not going to be asked to talk about the economy when you empty trash for a living.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't be knowledgeable. You might be like Goodwill Hunting and go into the school and solve math problems. I don't know. But so everything you're going to be talking about, you are already an expert in, because you've been working in that industry and owning a business in that industry for, 10, 20 years. I would imagine that those conversations with your employees and your clients come very easily to you. Why? Because you're the expert.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
And I'm sure it was a journey to get to.
Everything is.
Yeah, it's a journey to get to the ownership. So some people want to be listening. So maybe I want to start up my own financial advisor or whatever the case may be. You have a journey to get there, and why not share that? That's about as organic as you can get than just reading a blog or reading something like that.
Great point. No, absolutely. And here's another thing that businesses have that, let's say somebody that just wants to do a podcast for fun and talk about whatever it is that interests them, bird watching.
Yeah. Leaf
Look
lookers.
at that pelican.
Leaf lookers.
Leaf lookers?
Leaf lookers.
Okay.
People go up to North Georgia and get leaves.
Right. Or if Riley, who used what role did you play at the Georgia Aquarium?
The 2-finger stingray touches.
Yes, he was were you the head of that department?
Yes,
The 2-finger stingray touches.
Yep.
Can you give us an example of or is that a secret you just can't divulge?
I do classes, so if you want to subscribe to the class,
Okay.
Do the next
He
episode.
tours. They bring him all around to the equestrians.
All over the Southeast.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, you got to stand it. All right. Anyway. And another thing though, like, so if Riley, who wanted to create a podcast about his 2-finger stingray touch technique, essentially he would be starting at the audience of 0.
Mhm.
Like most podcasts start. But when you're a business, look at it from the perspective, and this is the only perspective, is that you already have a built-in audience.
Customers.
That your clients.
Yeah.
There again, I go back to financial advisors, and really you could ask me, hey, Khristian, how could my industry or business, I don't care if you're a baker, if you own a knife shop, it doesn't matter. You asked me the question of how could I utilize this medium, whether it be podcast or video, to showcase my expertise and create, establish myself as a thought leader for this business. And I could answer it in literally 5 seconds because the goal is the same. And once I start to kind of understand the business you're in and the clients you are dealing with, it's very easy to develop a strategy that aligns to them.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it really is. And businesses who have been in business for any extended amount of time have an audience. They have clients. A book of business that you can start to target and create content for. Their audiences on social media are then exposed to you. And things start to grow and compound in that way. So if you're not doing it, I'll be honest and I'll be blunt and you should be.
And your competitor's about to
Absolutely.
be doing it.
Your competitor's about to be doing it. And if, I hate to say it, hopefully we'll be helping them. But that being said, it is extremely valuable. And Riley, you've come across businesses, and sometimes Riley comes across some business owners that are more towards the end of their careers. They've been in business for 30 years.
They're not going to change the
about
way
to retire.
Yeah.
And they could really give a crap less. They're like, I know the value, I can see it, but yeah, not interested because to be honest with you, I'm almost done here.
Yeah.
We get it. That's totally fine. And you know what? Thank you for your service in that industry. And we totally get it.
So if I was a business owner, I'm in 2025, I want to take my business to the next level. I want to be able to do this. How do I get started?
Well, the first thing is you hit up followupmedia.com or reach out on any of our social platforms. In our episode description, there are links, there's phone numbers. Reach out to us so we can talk about your goals and initiatives, like what this looks like. The first question I ask any business when, I say, they're saying, all right, you know what, we're ready. Okay. Depending on where they are in the country, where are you going to record from? Where's the most comfortable, the most, quiet, place that inspires you to sit down and create content? If you're in Atlanta, Georgia, we've got 2 studio locations with 3 different studios across both locations that you can come into. But we set a lot of people up in their offices and at their homes. Like, it doesn't have to be an elaborate thing.
Yeah.
Are they going to record remotely? Do they have a co-host? But reaching out to us so we can figure out exactly, okay, what it looks like, right? And then we talk about your audience, your branding, what your social media presence already looks like, and then we design a strategy, an initiative that we can start to help execute. Because we need to figure out, are we going guests? Are we going co-host? Is this going to be you? Are we going to have guests on? What industry are we in? So how often are we going to release content?
Yeah.
And then we put together a proposal and a package that is tailored to your needs to make this a very easy process to take on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it, and then you start to put in, the work. Like we have a client coming today, one of our many clients who will be in this very same studio in about 4 or 5 hours. And he comes in here once a month and he busts out 4 episodes because they are on a weekly release, so they take him and his co-host take 1 hour. Well, they come in and they bust out 4 episodes, probably about 2 hours worth of time, but they do it once a month. They don't have to come in and do it every week and have it break up their schedule, but that's ideal for them.
Yeah.
We could have set them up at their house. We build studios too.
Mhm.
We have a company that installs state-of-the-art studios like the one we're sitting in.
And some people that we've sat down with for our discovery, I guess, I established their contact. We got on Zoom together or in person. Some people don't even know what they want. They don't know what they need until we completely dissect. You don't go to the doctors and just sit down and the doctor goes, "Oh, all right, you have strep throat." No, you tell them your symptoms, you tell them your needs, and you tell them what's going on. And that's the same thing that we're going to do. We're going to sit down with you. We're going to completely figure out what your needs are for this new year.
And we're going to give you an audit. We're
Yeah.
essentially going to audit not only your website, your social media presence. Is there content? If there is content, a lot of times we find some things that, through the audit that can be done a lot better. And it's one of those things that you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
If you're not paying attention to every little, platform upgrade, and these platform changes to their algorithms or, like YouTube, implementing the integration of the RSS feed, like if you're not paying attention to that, you're not in the know. And marketing teams that are, internal for companies, a lot of times are not in the know because they're tasked with doing everything marketing across the board. They're not experts. So, yeah, while they might get your podcast up and running or your video content, is it being titled? Is it the right way? Is it being posted the right way on that platforms with the algorithm for that platform in mind? And it makes a difference. So thank you for listening to Follow Up Media Podcast. We will be bringing on guests. We will be sharing insights, best practices, talking about some of the amazing things that are going on in the world of marketing and production and what we're doing and how we can help our clients, be better, do better, win bigger.
Yeah.
Even if you're not one of our clients, if you can take a snippet of something that was said here and apply it to your team or to your business, that's essentially what we want. We want your business too. We'd love to execute for you, but ultimately, we just want to help.
Yeah.
Just want to help people win, right? And
Make your
arm
business.
them with knowledge. So,
Take your business
and
to the next
and
level.
Riley might make it entertaining with his 2-finger stingray touch. More to come on that. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We are available on all major podcasting platforms. And you could also reach out via phone at 770-544-8227, followupmedia.com. Riley, you got anything else to say?
Nope. Super excited. Let's take your business to the next level.